All right, everybody, we have a special guest joining us, Josh Foster. Josh Foster is a producer and drummer from Fort Worth, Texas, with a musical vocabulary that touches all genres and creates a unique such as funk, jazz, R&B, and gospel mix. Josh relocated to Atlanta, Georgia in 2017, where his career began to take off. Since living in Atlanta, he has worked with artists such as Tyler Perry, Snoop Dogg, Mariah Carey, Cameo, Kim Burrell, Tamla Mann, and Jonathan Nelson, just to name a few. Josh is currently working with Mariah Carey while holding the position as a musical director and drummer for artist Shantae Can. Josh has been on tours such as Tyler Perry's National Medea Farewell Play tour, Redemption of a Dog tour with Snoop Dogg, Shantae Can, Mariah Carey Christmas, and Renee Rapp Snow Hard Feelings tour. He also has credits such as We Belong Together with Mariah Carey in 2021, which is available on all digital platforms. The Roof with Mariah Carey featuring Brandy in 2022. And he also played on episode 8 and 9 for Rhythm Flow, which was a Netflix series with DJ Khaled, Lotto, and Ludacris. And he was also a nominee for R&B Hip Hop Drummer of the Year. And through his strong leadership, courageous personality, as well as versatility on drums and music production, Josh has the ability to connect with his listeners one beat at a time.
Man, that was really good.
Appreciate it.
You did really good. I appreciate that. I got to change one thing in there. I'm going to reach out to my team. No pun intended. The team is me. But, and my wife, sorry. Shantae Can.
Okay.
So I was the MD. Currently, I haven't done a gig with Shantae in like a couple of years. So I got to change that. But that's fine.
Okay.
You're good.
All right, sweet. Well, thank you for being here, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, bro.
So tell me about your journey. Did you always want to be a professional drummer growing up?
I think most would say yes. I would kind of say yes, but I actually don't believe that I chose this career path. I do believe that God gave me a gift from birth to play. I believe that it wasn't a choice. I believe that it chose me. Yeah, I would definitely answer that like that. I believe God chose this destiny and path for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you move from the normal route from college to the 9 to 5 into a full-time music career?
Yeah. Well, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, I started playing in church, obviously first. And my dad, it was at my grandmother's church, but my dad was the first person to sow into my gift. Whether it be time wise, which, buying me whatever drum sets, whatever things to learn on, and then giving me my first opportunity to play in church. From there, I played from the time I was 3 all the way up until 12.
Okay.
At 12, I started gigging
Wow.
in town with my father and my uncles in Fort Worth, Texas. And that's where I grew up. And so from there, middle school and high school, that's where I developed the talent to be able to read music along with my playing. So it wasn't just about what it felt like doing in the music. Then it was like, are you able to focus on what's written? So it created another level of discipline. And from there, man, I was able to get a scholarship to Berklee College of Music. And
Wow.
Berklee was the eye opener to me as far as how many genres I could be in as a player. I didn't no longer was I just playing in church and playing gospel. CCM wasn't even really that big of a thing at that time, but yeah, it wasn't just gospel. I did R&B, I did funk, I did jazz, a mix of like everything. So Berklee, all of that time leading up is where my professional career starts. And upon leaving Berklee, that's when I transitioned into what I would call now real professional gigging, where it wasn't with just my dad and my uncles. It now was getting called for big gigs. And my first gig out the gate from Berklee was Marsha Ambrosius.
Okay.
And that's when my tour life, that's when it hit me that I don't have to have the 9 to 5, but I can create a level of net worth and a life for myself and future wife and future family and all of that from music solely. and I've never had another job other than music.
Wow.
So I'm super blessed and grateful for this to be my thing, you know.
Yeah. So what advice would you have for people who aspire to get to that level of where you are, where they can do music 100% full time and not have to worry about having a job on the side?
Yes, I would say, it's important for anyone who wants to do music. I think it's important for you to, one, have a unwavering amount of faith. I believe that uh, being a musician or anything that's entrepreneurial, I believe that there's a level of dedication, fearlessness, perseverance, tenacity to stay on a course. I am a firm believer that if you continue to give a little bit every day into the same thing and keep sowing, it will eventually provide a level of success for you. But if you don't take the necessary time to pour into that gift every day, do something every day. And whether it's someone who wants to be a drummer, get you a practice pad. If you can't afford a kit, start with that. Start with rudiments every day, sowing into the gift in small increments. And if you sing, voice lessons, you know what I'm saying, pouring into yourself, because I do believe that I was fortunate to have a family that gave into that gift. You get what I'm saying? So for someone who doesn't have that same level of a support system, I think it's important now that we do have YouTube, we have all these outlets.
Yep.
There's people teaching for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even have to pay for certain things like
YouTube
that.
pays them.
Yeah, but and even if you do, I will say pay someone that has the reputation. A shameless plug for me. I will have my course available for everyone pretty soon. Fill Over Flash, a masterclass, which will show and teach people. But that's obviously for drummers. But I'm speaking to a general audience as far as sow into whatever that is every day with a small amount
Right.
of something. You know what I mean?
That's good. So you did mention Berkeley. What was your experience like at Berkeley College of Music?
I believe Berkeley was the best melting pot I've ever been a part of. I think first off, at Berkeley, that is the real representation of the world. There are so many international students there that you get immersed into different cultures just from being at the school, because you meet people from all walks of life. So there isn't one way of doing something. There isn't one way of approaching music, what food you eat. That's when I was introduced to people who were vegan and vegetarian, and you know what I mean? Coming from the South in Texas, everyone, man, we're gonna eat some chicken, some fried chicken, some greens, some mashed potatoes,
Right.
mac and cheese. So I think Berkeley was a melting pot for me to be exposed to different ways of life, different ways of thinking and approach to music, which ultimately changed my approach in my playing. I believe that that's where I grew, not just as a musician, but as a man. I think that you learn to respect people differently when you're on your own, and not with your parents, and you start to really make a decision on who you want to be in society. And I think Berkeley does a great job with it being. We drove there, by the way. My parents drove me to school. So 28 hours of a drive.
Jeez.
As a matter of fact, I think we stopped here. We either stopped here or in Norfolk, but somewhere in Virginia. I remember, I want to say it was Richmond, but I know we stopped here and then drove the rest of the way. But we drove like 2 days.
Wow.
And I will say that being that far away from home forced me to get immersed in everything. I had 2 professors, and I'll end with this for this segment. Kim Plainfield, rest in peace. He was the drum instructor. He taught Chris Coleman, several other amazing drummers and different people. I learned so many concepts from him that I'm still using today, that it changed my life. Like I studied with him for 6 semesters.
Wow.
And you get 8 you get 6, so it was 4 semesters, I'm sorry. The first 2 semesters was with John Hazilla, and we just did brushes. So I did stuff that pushed me, you know what I mean? And the last thing with a professor I'll never forget that continues to keep a relationship. We have a mutual relationship, is Tia Fuller. Tia Fuller She taught several different ensembles at the school, and I was the musical director for several of those ensembles. And that led me to know how to lead people, how to encourage people, how to give constructive criticism, how to take constructive criticism, and immerse myself still as a player. Because at the end of the day, I still have to sit down and play, you know. But I would say, yeah, man, Berkeley definitely pushed me out of my boundaries and immersed me into a whole new world.
Speaking of Berkeley College, how did it feel knowing that Berkeley is basically compared to the school of Harvard in the music industry? It is the prime example of a music school you want to get to into. So with thousands of people, a thousand of people applying and them not being accepted, how does it make you feel to know that you weren't only accepted, but they were able to say, "Here, we will give you some money towards your scholarship to make it"? How did that make you feel?
Honestly, it made me feel very grateful. I applied to Berkeley, I applied to Manhattan School of Music, and New School. New School gave me, I want to say, half of tuition, I believe, if I had went there. Manhattan School of Music, no money. So I knew I wasn't going there. And Berkeley gave me, it was like a little under New School. I want to say about 20 to 25% or something like that of the tuition for the semesters. But when I got there, I ended up raising that with my grades and stuff. But how I felt extremely blessed and grateful because coming from Fort Worth, Texas, my parents, no one had been that far away from home or been to a school like that for something that they genuinely love doing. You know what I mean? And I think it's a privilege. I don't take it lightly. Berkeley gets a lot of flack in different areas, but if you look in the industry, not just in music, but in entertainment, TV, production, film, whatever that is, Berkeley graduates, whether they went to school the entire time or went for a couple of semesters, most people who have gone to Berkeley or went to Berkeley take up a corner of the market of the industry as a whole. And when you mention that, it helps in certain places. And in certain places, that's just a prerequisite. And then you have to prove yourself, just like anyone else.
Right.
But I do believe that I was fortunate enough to get that experience, and it's helped me in my career. Not to where I have to use it all the time, but it definitely has helped me to be involved in the conversation differently because of the prestigiousness of that school, you know. And it's right by Harvard. It's a train ride. It's not too far. It's like a couple of stops. So yeah.
That's good. So being and going back to that question of you going to Harvard, was that like your wake up? I mean, you going to Berkeley, excuse me. Was that your wake up moment to like, yo, I really can do this? It's like getting to that next level. Or did you already know at that time?
I think I already knew. I think that I didn't question whether or not I was going to go down this path. Berkeley was going to allow me to have my mind opened. And honestly, I didn't know it. The big reason I went to Berkeley in the beginning, before I really knew what it would offer me, at that time, there was this thing called Stranger Range going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So for all of you, my man,
Go watch
Jared is lit back there. So for me, when Stranger Range was happening, I got introduced to Darion Javon, you know, Derek Cobbs. Who else was in that band? Rod. It was a couple of people, but you know, DJ and Derek, who are good friends now, which is dope. And I didn't even meet them at Berkeley; they were long gone by then. Sean Wright, Nerdy Tunes, Jamal Smith on bass. All of these are like homies now. You know what I mean? But before going to Berkeley, seeing them do what they were doing with the arrangements, how they were approaching music, no one was hearing that like that outside of the professional gigging world, outside of school, which would be when Aaron Spears, rest in peace, when Aaron was with Fro with Usher around that same time, because that's the time that I'm going to Berkeley. This is 2014, 2013, 2014. At that time, Aaron Spears with Usher, the YouTube videos was crazy. So I would say, you know, first going, my mind was open because of Sean Wright, because of Darion Javon as a drummer. And then as a programmer and producer, DJ Still, when I say DJ, I'm saying Darion Javon, by the way, and Derek Cobbs, like I was just enamored with their approach to sound design. And then now you see them doing it with Doja Cat and several different other artists, but that's the first thing that comes to mind because of Coachella and different things that people are all going crazy over. But them guys have been doing that since then. They were already who they are now then. So I feel the same way about me. I knew who I was, but going to Berkeley just made me better. I think it just sharpened my tools. So seeing those guys do that, that was like, I gotta go to Berkeley because if I go there, there's a chance that I will get to do something similar
Right.
in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
So switching gears to your growth season,
Mm-hmm.
how have you experienced not yet moments in your early career?
I've been waiting on this because this is what we here for. This is what we here for right here. For all of you, y'all are gonna find out. How did I react or respond?
How have you experienced not yet moments in your early career?
Like we were talking about earlier on the way here. The first example in my professional career that I experienced a not yet was my first tour with Mark Swinton. For those of you who don't know, he's one of Tyler Perry's right hand people who writes a lot of the scripts and works with him on every single project. So when I got the call to do a tour with him, it was Mark Swinton's play, and it was, I'm trying to think of the title just went out of my mind, but it starred Cassie Davis, who most people know as Bam, and plays Tyler's best friend,
National
Medea's.
Medea farewell.
No. So that's the second. That's the second time I work with Tyler's people. So this is the first time where it's a lot of Tyler Perry people, but it's not him. It's not his product. So Mark Swinton's. And so, guess who showed up at dinner? That's the name of the play.
Okay.
Maybe you can find it on YouTube or something. But that tour was supposed to last 6 months. We started rehearsal in October of 2017. And at the top of 2018, I was supposed to be out on my first tour, 6 months, making more money than I've ever made at that time. And we rehearsed from like October to December. And then in January was when we went out on the tour. Y'all, this tour lasted 1 week. I told Christian earlier about that, and it's like that in that moment, the level of defeat that came over me, it was right when Black Panther was coming out, and the entire cast and crew was it was our first off day. It was on a Monday, and we all went to go see Black Panther, and we're all watching the movie, and I'm watching different people from our camp get up during the movie and like they're going to the restroom or whatever, but some people wasn't coming back. And so once the movie was over, we walk out and everybody's kind of like huddling up, hugging each other, dapping each other up. And I'm like, what are y'all doing? And everyone was feeling the feeling of remorse. Like, we just worked so hard on a product that we did maybe 5 shows that week or something like that. And that was it. Nobody else was going to see that show. All that hard work, all this, for me, a lifelong buildup, gone in a week. And how I handled that moment, I had a lot of encouragement, obviously, but that was the first time I felt like, is this dream for me? And I do believe that, like, in that time, God was like, not yet, but keep going. And so I did. But yeah, that would be the first moment, man. And that after that, it went crazy. But
Wow.
that was a slap in the face, you know what I mean, that I had to deal with. And I think that a lot of people, like I was telling you earlier, I feel like a lot of us, when we're met with a level of adversity, that's where we quit.
Yeah.
As soon as adversity shows up, maybe this is not for me. But it's not that. It's literally just this.
Yeah. So it's funny that you say that, because thinking about it, a lot of people get in situations to where they get an ounce of something going well for themselves, and then they get to a point of like you said, they face adversity, and they feel like once that one moment of good things happen, like you got on called to go on tour, right? You play your 5 shows, right?
Yeah.
But you have this expectation, this is going to be 6 months long, it's going to be amazing, and then once you have some type of obstacle in the way of that, and then people will just give up,
Right.
because they're like, I thought that it was going to work out this way.
Absolutely. I think that happens a lot because most of us put our faith in the opportunity
That's good.
and not in the opportunity giver. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the disconnect. As humans, that's what we're always fighting. It's always fighting our resources from the source, right? And so for me, that was the time where, honestly, like now, the type of following and the different things that I'm doing with social media and different things, that all kind of started then. Because right after that, what did I do? I started posting mad videos. That started then. And then later it started to blossom. But it was a 7-year process as far as what I've glowed up to now, and how people view me. But right after that, the next year, a tour came. Right after that, in that same year, I was back home that week in 2018 at the top of the year in January. That October, I was on another tour, Redemption of a Dog tour, Snoop Dogg. And it was a play about his life. And after that, it was a whirlwind. Except for the pandemic, I've been on tour every year except for 2020 and 2021.
That's
Every year.
2025,
And it's
guys.
20
He's on a run.
I'm on a run. God willing, it'll keep going for a minute.
Amen. So thinking of going back to more of you personally, and then we'll go back more into the not yet things. So you moved. What sparked you to move from your hometown to Atlanta?
Yeah. So while at Berkeley, I never felt like going back home would catapult me in my career. I never felt that way. And I always wanted to be able to say I made it. And not that I made it away from home, but that I just made it. I did something that would bring not just me satisfaction, but my parents, my grandparents, my entire family. And for me, it was 3 choices. It was Atlanta, New York, and California.
Yep, those are 3.
You said it before I could even get it out. And I believe that when Atlanta, a lot of it, I'm not going to say, some of it definitely has to do, my wife is from Atlanta. So I wouldn't have been introduced to the music culture in Atlanta if it wasn't for my wife, who is Lyric Roche, by the way. Y'all should follow her.
Shout out to her.
Shameless plug, but not shameless. I'm just plugging. But so it was a spring break, and that's when I got introduced to Atlanta. And at that time, Apache was still around, which is historically known in Atlanta, where a lot of artists were found. A lot of people would come through, such as Tyler Perry and mad other actors and actresses and celebrities, basketball players. All these people would show up, but that was on Wednesday nights. Monday nights was Pals, Musician Monday. Tuesday nights was Pizza Bar, where at just like a spot in off Camp Creek in Atlanta, where people would show up and it would be an open mic. You know, on Tuesdays. Thursdays was Cats Cafe, Cats Lounge, I believe. And that was in the city, in Midtown. And man, every night of the week there was something going on. And I got immersed to that and in that. And that was like, man, it felt like Texas. It felt like the South. It felt like home. But the speed of it was moving like California to me. And that was like the main factor. I felt like if I went to New York, I would become only a jazz guy. And not to say that it could have been different, but I didn't want to just play 1 or 2 different things. I wanted to really play everything. And LA at the time, leaving college, was super expensive. It definitely still is. And I didn't want, for myself personally, I couldn't see myself doing the roommate thing for a long period of time. And so, yeah, man, that's what prompted like the Atlanta trip with my now wife. At the time we were dating, but yeah, visiting her family. That's what made it.
So what advice would you have to people who want to, whether it's not even just music, just whether it's photography, videography, whether it's clothing or whatever industry they are in, what advice would you have for them if they feel like their town is so small and that they can't make it out, and not in a way of encouraging them just to do something that's like totally out of proportion,
Right.
you know, but to, as you were at home stacking the days, getting yourself ready to be able to go to Atlanta, what advice would you have for people like that?
Like and pursuing it.
Yeah, and pursuing.
Yeah, I think what you do, it's gonna. I don't want to say it and make it sound like opportunist, but I don't think anything is wrong with that. You have to make yourself known, right? Closed mouths don't get fed. Before I moved to Atlanta, from that one trip I'm telling you about in Atlanta, I went and talked to different people at those different venues, at those different places. I let everyone know in Atlanta, Georgia that I met that looked like they were doing something in music. I let them know that I was moving there.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And
You moving there at the time? Yeah.
it was at least a year away.
Okay.
But I was telling people, and when they would see me on social media, like on IG, when I was posting my videos or doing whatever, they were like, oh yeah, oh dude that was here the other night. And so I just kept showing up. But I would say, now that we have social media, like you reached out to me.
Yeah.
Reach out to those people that you can model yourself after, especially for career-driven people. I think that there's someone who's already gone before you. So instead of trying to just get it out the mud all by yourself, like get it out the mud intentionally.
Right.
And there's someone else there doing it. And that's why I was gonna say, like, really the key is to get a mentor.
Mentor, yep.
Get someone who's gone before you and already kind of laid a roadmap. For me, I have several, but one that I'll highlight right now is Ronnie Garrett. Ronnie Garrett is Tyler Perry's MD. When I moved to Atlanta, I saw how he moved in the industry and different things, and I pour into that. He pour into me, and there's this mutual thing. He's keeping in touch with me and seeing what's going on, what's new, what's happening. And then I'm talking to him about experience. Okay, I got to make this decision or this choice. You need that. And I think if you want to move to a new city or a new state, you need to reach out to the generals there, whether male or female, but reach out to the people who are doing it there. There is someone that will give you whatever tools you need to succeed. So yeah, I would say definitely reach out.
And making sure that we're not telling you to go and pick up your things and move right now.
Don't do
You
that.
know, the
I
thing
did that
is
before. Don't do that.
So okay, that's good that we know that. So and that can be a not yet moment in it as
Right.
itself to
Right.
make sure you're not. Yes, you are, Josh. You are to go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
But what if you would have tried to go 2 years before the right time to go? So how do you keep people to stay patient and continue to do what they need to do at home so they don't just move out prematurely?
Yeah. So let's talk about moving somewhere prematurely. Myself and my wife moved to LA from Atlanta in 2022. Mind you, we got married a couple of months before we moved. We got married May 15th, 2022. I did the Stellar Awards in July, and then we were making our move right after that to LA. We packed up my 2-seat Challenger with all our stuff, because everything else we put in the storage because we didn't know how this was gonna work. And we going to LA. Why? Because we both felt like we had done all that we could do in Atlanta, and it was time to level up, right? Bro, when I tell you we moved to LA and all the people who said they would help throw opportunities, everything went ghost. Everything crickets. Nobody that I had spoke to or that my wife had spoke to. And then everything that ended up coming was literally whatever relationships we made or whatever God just dropped. And speaking to that fact, I do believe that at some point in my life and in my wife's life, we may live there. But that was an ultimate not yet season, because when I say work was flowing in Atlanta, work was moving, but I was just like, we need another level. As soon as we got to LA, everything dried up. Like literally, like in the Bible, having a famine, or like something that like a plague. It's something that just dries up everything that you knew that would work for you or used to work. And man, I tell you, as soon as we weren't even there, we were there 6 months total. I was there 4 months, because in October, that's when Change opened up a building in Atlanta. And for those of you that are aware with Change, it's an amazing church, and Pastor Darius Daniels is the pastor there. And he's amazing. It's great to be under his leadership. Once I found out about that, I went and lived in Atlanta. I went back while Lyric stayed because we were living with her uncle at the time. And man, Lyric booked a play in LA that October at the same time I'm moving. So from October to December, she's working on a play there. I moved back to Atlanta, and I'm staying with Shantae Can and her manager and friend of mine, Celeste. And that's what I did for 3 months. And then in January, Christmas, close to Christmas, I go back and grab Lyric, and then we drive back from California back to Georgia. And at that moment, same thing, just like before, it felt like failure. It felt like another failure because it's like things have been going great for us. Why would this move had to be premature? Because if it was God's timing, things would not close up like that. And so I say that to anyone else. You can recognize God's timing better when you allow for all of the steps going before you to be organically placed in front of you. Anytime you're experiencing this type of season, it's for your protection.
Yeah.
It's
that's heavy, man. That's powerful.
It's for your protection. It's for provision. And I believe that once you get through that, where you're trying to get to will be much sweeter. It'll be better.
Clarity.
You'll be clear. And as soon as we move back to Atlanta from LA, bro, after everything dried up, we moved into an apartment, and I'll never forget this. After we stayed with my mother-in-law for like a month, which I never wanted to do ever in my life, we moved into an apartment, and in 2023, I was only in my apartment up to maybe 20 days, most. I hadn't been in my house a month long, as far as 30 to 31 days. That's how much work God gave me and gave my wife work. She doing corporate band, doing her own shows. We would be gone so much. I didn't lay my head in my own bed at least 30 days ever, the whole year.
That's emotional.
And so again, man, God is trying to protect us when it's not yet. God is trying to keep us. He's trying to keep our mind, because people lose their mind from trying to move too soon.
Move too quick. Yep.
And I'm not someone that drugs is something that is a vice to me. But if it was, that would have been the season where
that's
God don't love me. God is not here for me. So let
real.
me go to this. Let me go to that. You know? And so, yeah, man, I would say just the advice is like, God always organically place things in your next step in front of you. If it's not God, you're going to know. It's not going to be set up that way. You know, and not to say that God is not involved when there's adversity.
Right.
That's what we've been talking about. So I don't want anyone to take that message either, where it's like, but I guarantee you, when it's really God, even if it's difficult, it will still be moving forward. But if it dries up like a desert, not yet.
And that's crazy, because in that situation, like, granted, you guys moving to California, you know, and that's you guys, you know, doing what you guys thought was best, you know. But the fact that you were able to come back to Atlanta and still flourish, that's grace.
Absolutely.
That is grace and mercy, because the thing is that not a lot of people can go and do their own thing and then come back and God, and you don't know, they could have been a replacement, or we found you were moving to LA, so we got somebody else here. Like that's protection too at the same time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Wow.
I totally agree.
That is crazy. So going back into not yet. So at your level, you know, and encouraging other people, whether you are a musician or whatever your craft is, you being a professional drummer, you know, being able to do that full time, you're on tour, you're not home for 30 days straight ever.
Right.
How do you still experience not yet moments where you're being at a top dog in your level?
Yes, we were kind of talking about it earlier on the way here from the airport, and I find myself experiencing not yet moments. For me, I am a drummer, which most people know me as, and that's my first gifting. But like I told you before, I know that my purpose and my calling now is to be the spiritual advisor the pastoral, if you will, influence on people in the work settings that I'm in. And I recognize that by doing that, I can help more people come to Christ um without them feeling forced.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so right now I believe that not yet for me is mainly in my, when it comes to production for me, my own artistry, and a few of business ventures I want to take. Like we were talking about before, I have the Fillover Flash brand, which will be launching pretty soon, launching the app for that, where people will be able to purchase different things, whether it be merch or whether it be the course for drums, but then they will also get conversations with me with other people. And what is that about? It's about heart posture. And I think that a lot of that is all based in my experience with Not Yet. Drums is something that I'm reaping a harvest from consistently right now from work that I sold years ago that no one saw, right? So it's like, man, we see Josh here, we see you doing all of these things. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I was placed in a lot of things in hiding. Nobody knew me when I was in Texas at all. Some people knew me when I got to Berkeley. People found out about me in Atlanta, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? And I still rep Texas, so don't get it twisted. But Atlanta's my second home, and I know that right now, from what people see from me, if you're looking at me just as a drummer, then I've made it. This is the tip of one of the tips of the iceberg. You know what I mean? And maybe there's extra things for me to do that are, you know, on the same level. But for me, I'm in a not yet right now with my wife. We are getting her career moving, her artistry. For those of you who don't know, she's an artist. She does pop music. I produce a lot of it along with my brother, Gerald Langford, who lives in Boston. He's another producer. And then another friend of ours, Terrell Hines, who he went to Berkeley with us too. He's producing some stuff with my wife as well. And so I'm experiencing not yet on a couple of facets of life where for her, she's not the typical artist that will do anything in the industry to get ahead or to get on a certain platform.
Right.
So it has to be God-led. It has to be God-fearing. So what does that mean? At his pace, at his timing. So that's different too, because how that affects her ultimately ends up affecting our relationship as well and how we navigate through life, because I have to be a level of support and foundation for my wife, even though I'm watching her deal with the same not yet. As for me, I want to be recognized for my production. I want to be recognized as a voice of reason for people, but I haven't given or haven't been given or empowered in a lot of settings to have my voice heard. People trust me behind the scenes. People trust me as a drummer. I'm normally at the back of the stage and you can see everything happening, right? And even though you're the leader, you're the quiet leader. The musical director in different settings is normally a keyboard player, a bass player, someone on a harmonic instrument. And then there's people who are blessed like me, but several others, Rex Hardy and different people who have been drummers and been the musical director from drums. I think I have an insight to everything else, but now I am in a season where when God gives me the right timing, I am going to launch all of my purpose for me, you know.
Sir.
So yeah, man, I'm in that right now, no matter what it looks
Me
like
too.
to other people.
Me too. And the thing about not yet is crazy because my mom, she was talking to me. She's like, you know, that's how I know this not yet thing is real, because this how I know God gave it to you, because you're not a patient person. Like, man, Deacon, my brother, off camera, he'll tell you, man, I'm not. I'm really at that part. I'm like, I'm go, 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 go.
Same.
You know, and this not yet reminder is literally my reminder to slow down, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that for everybody, I think that the generation in the world, they put places of where you should be by a certain time,
right, or a certain age,
where you should be, you know. And the thing is that people get down on themselves and things like that because they feel like they have not arrived yet because they see other people arriving, you know. And the thing is that is what leads people into anxiety and depression and all of these other things, because they have their own expectation, things that they don't have control. You don't have control of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have control of it. And the thing about God is that God is not really wrapped in time.
Nope.
He's not. So it's just like when it's right, it's right. When it's the season, it's the season.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that if people really just trust God, and that's what we want the brand of Not Yet to be, is really, you know, we just make clothes. That's what it is. But it's the message that really matters the most. And it is to help and encourage people, whether you are just starting or whether you have made it and you want to get into something else, you know. So that is the whole aspect of the brand. Question: how do you think the concept behind Not Yet could help people in this world today?
Well, to one of the points that you just said, how it can help people. A lot of the generation that we're in right now, and I don't want to blame social media, because I think it does great for a lot of people. It's all perception and
That's how you
perspective
see it. Yep.
and how you see it. But for people, I want to speak to the people who think that they're behind. I think that's what it is. Everyone should know that you never have arrived. For anyone that starts to act like they've arrived, you're close to being finished. You're close to being done.
Yo, that's good.
And then it's just a matter of timing of when God is like, well, that's the end on your assignment. Because at the end of the day, like, for all of my believers out there, like, none of it is about the opportunity in general. It's about your assignment. So, like, that's why I said, for me, I know what my purpose is now. So now I can move according to my purpose, where I make decisions that don't just catapult my career, but catapult God's purpose for an individual that would never encounter him, you know? So I think to the people, whether you're young or old, on the spectrum of, and what you consider, I don't, age is just whatever, but like your mentality, to the people who feel like they are behind, if you were supposed to be there already, you would have already arrived. I mean, it's that simple. You cannot be effective in any environment, like we talked about, if you arrive any sooner than you're supposed to, because 9 times out of 10, you can arrive frustrated, fatigued. You can be in a position that you will not be able to lead people effectively. I believe that experience is the best teacher. And the more time you're in an incubator and you're able to gain all the knowledge and encouragement and an experience and time with yourself, you can better help other people. If you have not done the work for yourself, you're not going to be effective to anyone else. And so, especially for the young drummers with the endorsements and different things, because I have those conversations all the time. For everyone that doesn't know, as of right now, I have just received pretty much all of my endorsements as a drummer.
Wow.
I've been touring, what did I tell you, since 2018. So minus pandemic years, 2020 and 2021, I've worked with so many artists in that amount of time. I can't even name how many artists, because if we account for the award shows, on every song in a different medley, there's a different artist that comes on stage. Yeah. So every star, for the most part, I've been around. And then to do work with Tyler Perry and doing his grand opening of Tyler Perry Studios, every star you could think of there. I did the grand opening of Tyler Perry Studios. Who was all there? Everyone. He named stages after people where they shoot those films. So I think that with these endorsements and different things, honestly, these companies, when you build the relationships with the right company for you, that's where you should be. You want a relationship that will last. You want a relationship with an A&R that will give you the same respect and energy that you'll give them. You know what I mean? You don't just want to be out here with a company because of a name or because of hype. None of that is helping your career. And like I tell some of my little brothers and little sisters that are in the music game, but this is across all entertainment. I truly believe that if you do great work and focus on doing great work, your reward will be great, period. But you have to put the work in front of the reward. And I think everyone is so worried about what they're going to get
Yep.
that no one is focused on just giving.
That's good, Josh.
And these are prime, simple principles that are shown throughout the Bible where, like nobody's out here just waiting on something. No, you got to give. So be willing to serve, be willing to give, and use your gift at the highest level. Be consistent in how you show up to gigs, how you show up to rehearsals. Don't show up to the rehearsal not knowing the music. You know what I mean? Like simple stuff like that. Be the one that everyone knows is solid. Be the one that people can look to and be like, man, this person always is on it. Every time I show up to any gig, any setting, these people that person is just on it. And I'm saying that because that's something that has always worked for me. That's why I'm here today. Not just because I'm talented. Everyone's talented now. There's an 8-year-old somewhere in the world that can play drums just like me now at 8. You know what I mean? And so then again, for those that feel like you're behind, do great work and allow your reward to come straight from God.
Man, that's good. So with you personally, traveling a lot, you were just in China, you were just in London, you just was with Mariah Carey at the BET Awards, all within probably like a week span.
Yeah. Something like that.
So when preparing for big shows like the BET Awards, Grammys, NFL halftime, that was pretty. The NFL halftime thing, that was pretty dope.
Oh, for Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody knows.
Yeah, not
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Or was it the Christmas?
It was the Christmas
yes,
game.
Christmas
game. Yes.
I don't know. I didn't do the
Super
Super
Bowl.
Not the Super Bowl. Okay.
How was those moments? And I want you to elaborate a little bit on how those moments were being in front of the crowd. And how does that make you feel still at this day? Like, is there still a little bit of nerves?
Got you. Yeah, I think because I'm human, I don't think I can show up in front of 100,000 people, 80,000 people, whatever the amount is, and not still get a little sense of nerves. However, like we talked about earlier, both loving sports and playing sports, that's the fuel. That energy of being in front of a crowd and feeling the love and like support there's nothing like it. And to me, because I don't hoop on a professional level or like in a league or something like that right now, I still get that feeling like I just hit a 3-pointer or something. You know what I mean? Or you cross somebody, the whole crowd is going crazy. And I believe that now, still to this day, working with Mariah, like for instance, in London, we just did a Capital Summertime Ball, which is at Wembley Stadium, historic venue for London. 80,000 people. 80,000 people. And I haven't in a while experienced that level of joy.
Wow.
And I did it. I don't want to make sure I put this out there right. I did it twice. I did 2 shows that day. I played with Renee Rapp and Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey closed. Renee was either 3rd or 4th during the day. And so I played with 2 artists on my first time playing at Wembley Stadium. And so I've been able to do some legendary things, and I don't allow it to be worn because I feel like if I start wearing it, like I was talking about it earlier, that ego starts to mess with you a little bit, and you start feeling like,
you arrived.
No.
Yeah.
So no, every performance is the same to me. When I moved to Atlanta and I was playing at clubs and wasn't touring yet, I was showing up to the gigs with my pad, my electronics, playing it like I was in the arena. And then now I'm doing arenas. Now I'm doing stadiums. In China with Mariah, it was at least 60,000 in China for at least 3 to 4 shows. London, again, 80,000. And then the for anyone to tune in and watch halftime, when we did that, that's millions and billions in plus viewership. You know what I mean? And for me, a part of my look now has been the beanie and some shades. People have seen that like everywhere. I've had people run up to me in the airport and be like, and I had like a regular hat on, like a baseball cap, and they're like, man, I almost didn't recognize you with the hat on because normally you have your beanie on. And the level of joy and gratitude I have is it's at an immense level, because anyone else can be in this position if God wanted that for them. You know what I mean? But I got chosen to be. And you know what I mean? Just like the saying, many are called, but few are
Few are
chosen.
chosen.
I know that I've been chosen because some of the opportunities that I've been a part of were tailor-made for me, you know?
How important is it for, and I feel like it's funny that you talk about ego. How important is it, for guys like you who have arrived, or not even to the standpoint of guys like you, but anybody who has arrived or has gotten any type of influence in general, how important is it to still show love to the little guys who are still
Yes.
upcoming?
I think it's huge, because you will either grow someone's intentionality for wanting to move forward, or you will kill the morale for them wanting to move forward. Like, for instance, right now I can name a time we were doing Darwin Hobbs' recording that just passed, because he's about to put out some new music, and so I'm playing, and one of the singers, her son, plays drums. So little stuff like, when we were on a break for lunch, he wanted to play on the kit. Just let him sit down on the kit. You know what I mean? And in a lot of places, people ask me all the time, can I do lessons? And man, I wish I had a schedule that would allow me to, and the time to do it. And that's why I don't do in-person lessons, because I don't want anyone to feel like I'm not giving them a full experience. Because if you're going to pay me, I'm not going to give you half work. You know what I'm saying? And so I believe that, the best way to do is to pay it forward. All my mentors and OGs that speak to me, all the wisdom they give me, I'm pouring it
That's
into
good.
someone else younger and giving it back.
Because you don't see that in a lot today's days. I mean, in 100%, you can't give it to everybody.
Right.
You gotta.
Those who show you that they want to receive.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because you do have the people who are clout chasers and they want it easy,
Yep.
and things like that. And you want to see the people who are willing to put in the work, and go the extra mile. So I think that's very important, is that no matter what status you are at, is that we were all created to help each other.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I want us all, out of all industries, to get out of this ego factory of that I've arrived, I have this many followers, I do this many in sales, and you're just now beginning. So get good and then come talk to me.
Right.
Because then there's some people who when younger people do come to them, they don't say anything. They don't do anything for them. But then once they get big, they're like, oh, I always knew you had it in you, bro.
Yeah. And that's so whack. It's so whack, because at the end of the day, the only person that's going to have to deal with that is you. If you were giving positive influence, if you were sowing into that person, then you could reap a great reward.
Mm-hmm.
But no, when you do that, like, that's something that God's going to deal with you with, how you handle people,
With you growing up as a PK, I was a PK as well. Growing up and you grew up on the fundamentals of gospel, which I feel like a lot of musicians out there grew up on the fundamentals of church and gospel, 100%. How do you stay to your roots, but also of what you're doing? How do you still use that as ministry, even though you may not be in the four walls of the church?
Yes. I believe all of us who grew up in church, if you believe it, obviously belief is the first part. I believe that every gig and opportunity job I've ever been on, it was an opportunity to show love, spread God's love, by just being nice, by being kind, intuitive. When someone expresses something personal or something that is near and dear to them, I give them space. I give them time to express that with me. And then when someone's going through, offer them prayer, and if they want to know more, throw them a verse. You know what I mean? I stick to the roots, but the main thing is how you show up for people.
Yeah.
In those moments of the things that they care about. Obviously, a few of the teams that I'm a part of right now in the working world, I pray for pretty much everything. The Mariah Carey squad, for instance, before shows, we do it every single time. They'll be, all right, Bishop, put us where we need to be. And it's fun, it's funny, but at the same time, it's real, because every time I pray, I do believe that God is using that moment for me to tap into something that other people may be going through or dealing with, or even myself. Because it's not, even though I'm at a place that people can feel like we've arrived, people that are on that stage, whatever stage that is in any industry, are still dealing with stuff. So we're still choosing to show up. You know what I mean? But it's super difficult at times to do that. But I think, like I was telling you earlier, you know, with the artists I work with, I'm not going to share the name because I don't know if they want that out there. But they recently asked the band if we would take them to church. And so, you know, one day y'all will figure out who that is. But yeah, that to me is a level of exposure that that person received
Right.
without us ever making it
Right.
a thing.
Like, look, here's Jesus. Like,
Here's yeah, and it's like, no, it's like, because everyone is going to come to him different.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And church, for instance, it's really supposed to be for people who are coming to know, but we've taken that and put it in a box that you push on people in a way that makes you feel better about how your walk is going, when it's not about you. You already know. You're already a believer. You already trust God. You already know his word, or some of it, the scriptures you do know. But the real thing is doing the work, walking out with people, like being there for people in tough times. I've been around several people in the past few days and months that are losing people, still showing up to work with a great attitude, a good heart. Don't know God. Some of them do. And who what can I be to them? I can be a stress reliever. I can be a healer in that way for them. It's not me, it's God doing the work, but I'm showing up. And I think that that's what's really important, brother.
That's good. So, question, how, because I feel like you are in your yes, you're in your, believe it or not, as you feel like you're in a not yet season right now, but you're also in a yes season for your last not yet from when you were younger. So now that you have received your yes from the goals that you wanted to do, how do you still not compromise and still keep God first?
Yeah. I with what those few things I was saying, I think the main thing is never allowing my ego or my mindset or mentality cause me to think that it's because of me. It's not because of me. It's because of one, God providing me with the opportunity, right? However, it's also God giving me the strength to put in the work ethic, to put in the time, to be intentional with planning, with studying, sharpening those tools, right? But yeah, I would say the only way to stay level-headed is to continue to surround yourself with people that are better than you or further than you. Cultivating those relationships. And a lot of people are not going to do that or won't do that because that makes them feel inferior, because someone around me is like doing better. But there's several drummers and producers and mad people that I get to be around that I'm like, I don't envy them. I admire them. I'm inspired. You know, like for instance, one of my great friends right now, Elijah Mboho, he plays bass.
Yeah, Eli.
And everybody knows him for bass.
Eli.
But he's actually one of the best producers ever that I've ever met. And I know mad people who are mainstream producers, and he hasn't got that light just yet. But when it comes, people are gonna be like, oh man, but I'm gonna be like, I already knew. You know what I'm saying? And even for myself, there's stuff that I want to do. But in this yes now, like I'm surrounding myself. I'm in a yes from drums.
Right.
So let's just make that clear. I'm in a yes in a harvest season from drums. But for my true purpose and who God wants me to be for people and to people with his light, I am in a not yet. But in the yes that I'm receiving right now, I'm using that to do the ultimate purpose.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good. What is it like, briefly, what is it like playing at Change Church every Sunday behind Todd Galbraith and Taylor and playing with guys like Eli?
Yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah, Change, for those of you who don't know, or maybe you do know a little bit about it, Change is one of the the dopest churches ever. Like, everyone that comes to Atlanta, or if you're not from Atlanta, people are traveling all over the world to come here. And I've been able to be a part of change from the inception of Atlanta. The church was found in Jersey, so in New Jersey, and it actually may be a time before that, but their Pastor Darius and Lady Shamika, they started out there, and they moved to 2 campuses in Ewing and in West Hampton. And when they started in Atlanta, we were doing recordings at New Birth in the NPR room there, and it started there. Hearing his messages, if you have not heard a Darius Daniels message, you are missing out. He is definitely a general when it comes to communicating, right? And even some of the things I've said today is funny. I kind of hear a little bit of his influence on me when I start a statement with like, I believe, or like, he has made it palatable to communicate a high level of intellect in the Bible, but break it down, like you said earlier, with 3rd and 4th grade vibes for people, where it's in a theme, or it's in a palatable series or something like that for all of us to be able to tap into. And so I would say number 1 at the church is being to hear his message. Worship wise, musically, it's not too much you can say other than Todd Galbraith is.
That's a tour every Sunday, bro.
Yeah, it, like, and I was blessed to do some of his encounter nights after he dropped that album. And man, we go in, every Sunday. Like, we not showing up like it's just another Sunday, or it's just church, or it's just, no, like, we show up and give our all every week. And Taylor, man,
she's got it. She understands.
She's so anointed, and very intentional with her choices, with not just, what she's singing, but what she's saying while exhorting and giving positive messages to the people. And then now, we have, like I told you earlier, we have several leaders are there, Tim Bush, Taylor's brother, Charles Butler, Melinda is there. Melinda, and I feel like I'm missing someone else. It's several people on the team, so I don't want to just name a couple.
Right.
It's a team. It's definitely a team of people that are going between now with 2 locations. But Eli and Boho, again, just mentioning him, man, that guy is crazy. But the whole squad, the whole band is amazing. Preston Stevens, Oxon, Oregon, and Ja Whittingham on guitar. And so that's to name a few of the people added to Todd and Taylor, but there's a whole team of people that make change what people know, And so check out Darius Daniels on YouTube, but also check out Change Church TV on YouTube, and the Worship Wednesdays. People can find all of the praise and worship.
Yep.
There.
Yeah, I gotta go down there, man. Gotta experience it, man.
Come through.
We'll most definitely make that happen. What do you want to say to people whose desire is just the big stage? They get caught up with the looks, the tour life, and they may not have a real passion for music deep down inside, but they like the fame. They like what you guys do.
I would pose it with another question instead of an answer, because I could just answer it. I would pose with another question: is what happens when you get there?
You heard him. Think about it.
Because what happens if your only goal was to do the big stage, and then you get to that big stage? Do you just go back home and go back to what you were doing? What do you do? I think that what people need to identify is, 1, what is God's purpose for my life? And then the doors that you want to see open, write them down, pray to God about them, and consistently, and not just one.
Right.
This is what I'm saying. This is something that you will continuously be doing, and then you got to walk the path, because it's not going to show up the way that you expect it to show up. But to the person who's just wanting a big stage, be careful of putting your hope one, in an opportunity, but in a stage, because you will be chasing that stage your entire life over and over again. And I've witnessed that in people's lives where, because wanting a stage like that is almost kind of, it's an addiction too, because you end up, if you don't feel that feeling, you'll do whatever to feel that feeling again. Because at the end of the day, like, just breaking it down, all we're experiencing is a level of dopamine
Yeah,
in
that's
the
what it
body,
is.
and that's what we're feeling. So when you reach a certain stage, that's it. And if you don't do, then you'll do whatever it takes to do that, even if it's outside of the will of God for your life.
Man, that's good. So my last thing, like I said, thank you for being here. My last question will be, well, not even question, just elaborate on it. What advice would you personally give to somebody who is going through their not yet season, rather than getting a shirt and representing it?
Right. Also, get the shirt.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, please do. But I would say to those experiencing a not yet season, it's simple, but it's not simple. You walking it out is the hard part, but to not get weary in well doing. I think that the biggest thing, a scripture that was given to me and my wife that I want to leave with everybody, is Jeremiah 29:11. Like we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you a future, a hope, plans to prosper you, not to harm you. And I believe that God has a purpose for your life. And in that purpose and in that plan, it's his purpose and plan for your life. So you don't know every turn. You don't know each way that he wants to take you to get you exactly to the place where he wants you to be. And I think that if people allow themselves to walk according to his will, you'll ultimately find yourself in a lot of positions that you want to be in, because that's what it was and what it needed to be for you. So to anyone that's experiencing this, this is delayed, but not denied.
Yep.
It's that. And earlier I would say, my wife told me this before going to the airport. My father-in-law, Chase Steven, who y'all can look up, he's doing mad movies and mad stuff now. When he thinks of the word yet, he has a acronym for it that means you're eligible to.
Mm-hmm.
And that means you possess everything you need. You are waiting patiently, but intentionally, which means you are cultivating something, you are working on something. And two, that means that it's been done by someone, or maybe it hasn't been, but you will be the first. And that means if you're eligible to do it, then you're in waiting, you're in pending to do it. And so to anyone that's experiencing that, continue to stay true to yourself, be intentional in that waiting period, and allow God to line up and order your steps so that you can walk exactly into the purpose that he has for you.
Well, there you have it. Josh, appreciate you for being here, man.
Thank you for having me, bro.
We appreciate it. And make sure you guys go follow him on all platforms. Where can they follow you at?
Yes. On Instagram, you can follow me at the Josh Foster. Same thing on TikTok. And then outside of that, stay tuned for the Feel of a Flash app, which will be showing up pretty soon.
All right, man. We appreciate him for being here. All right. See y'all.